First, I appreciate y'all being here today. You know, I know it's a little bit different what our normal press conferences are, but you know, any opportunity we get to talk about Georgia Southern football, and then obviously being game week, and you know, it's finally here. This is a week that, you know, a lot of times we wasn't sure it was even going to get here, but it is, and you know, our guys have done a really good job. You know, we fought a lot of adversity, which every team in the country has right now, between COVID testing and contact tracing and all the different things that are going on in this world. But our guys are really locked in, want to do a good job this week, and you know, obviously try to play as clean a ball game as we can and come out with a victory. We got Campbell coming in. You know, when you really look at them last year, athletic football team. Their quarterback, Hodge, is a guy that we actually recruited here, and he really had a really good year last year. They came out the gate after losing that first game and rolled off some victories. Did not finish as well as they probably wanted to, but you do see why they were able to reel off some victories as a team. You know, got some players that are back from last year that we've got to be very mindful of. But this week will be about us trying to set the tone for the 2020 season. And our guys, I believe, are up for that challenge. And, you know, we do have one more COVID test this week, and that can always play into different things for us. But we've been preaching the whole time, next man up. You never know when your number is going to get called. And but I think our guys are doing a good job with that. We did practice this morning. They seemed very locked in. There was a nice energy about game week, and so we're excited about being at home. I know we're not able to have 25,000 in there, but we'll take 6,250 and make sure that power of Paulson's still power of Paulson. But we're excited and can't wait to GATA.
Coach, last time you guys were on the field was down in Orlando, and you told the team to look at the scoreboard. It seems so long ago, but it was 200 days or something like that. Talk about how you hope these upperclassmen really take that to heart and share that with the younger guys, that the last time out wasn't Georgia Southern football, and they don't need to have that feeling again.
No question. We never want to end the season the way we ended last year. And, you know, I believe our guys are very hungry because of that. You know, we were in a really, really good place 6 practices in and into spring ball. And obviously everything went down with the pandemic and, you know, getting back in the groove and all that kind of stuff. But you can still tell our guys understand the way we finished last year, and that they don't want it to go that way this year. You know, so I think that's still motivation. And I think they want to be a better football team. They want to be a better complete team. I'm hearing a lot more player-led football team this year than I did last year, which I think is great. And, you know, I think we're on a good track. We're just fighting something that everybody else is fighting also. And, you know, so everybody's got to be locked into that. And I think that's a good point, in that the young guys need to understand what it means to play Georgia Southern football.
Coach, have you been able to do some reflecting? You said that you're fighting something that everyone else is fighting. Have you been able to reflect on the moment that you find out everything's going down and practices start to get canceled and pushed back, everything you've been through, COVID, Black Lives Matter, the social justice marches, everything like that? Have you been able to reflect on where the team has come in that path? You said it's a lot more player-led stuff now. I have to imagine everything that's happened this summer has been a result of why it's player-led, is because these things are happening. You've had to sort of lean on these players a little bit more, I imagine.
Well, obviously, all the stuff we're going through, you know, you do need player-led, but that's something we've preached from the start since I was able to become the head football coach here. We want a player-led football team, and we want to be led in the right way when it's a player-led football team. But I do think the virus and the racism piece, I think all that stuff that is going on, if you can put a positive spin on it, which, you know, in my mind, regardless of what the obstacle is, what the adversity is, you do have to find the positive in it. And so if I am looking for a positive in a pandemic or social injustice or racism that is really coming to light, it is that our guys want to do right, and they want to obviously do all the things that have been put in place protocol-wise for the pandemic to try to beat the virus. And they also want their voice to be heard for a platform, which we obviously want them to be able to voice their opinions, their feelings, and things that are right. And as long as we're not doing it in a wrong type of manner, I think it's great, and I think that it is added to our guys being player-led. So, that is a positive spin from a pandemic and from a racism fight. Is that players are stepping up to lead in those areas.
Hey, Coach. You mentioned in the beginning that, you didn't know if you'd even get to this point of the season. So that being said, is this a game that you're approaching telling the players, play it like it's your last, or is that something that you don't want your team even thinking about going into this game? How has just kind of been the mindset around all the things going on?
No, I don't want to ever look at this game like it could be the last. Now, I think everybody should play like this is the last time they're ever going to play. I think that's always got to be the mindset of you never know when it is going to be taken away from you because of what we've had to face this year with the uncertainty of a season. But I want this game to be about it's the start of something. It's the start of a season, and I want there to be excitement for there to be a season and to be a because 2 months ago we didn't know if they would be a first game. And now there's a first game, and so that means there should be a second game, there should be a third game, and it should go on way through that. So I think you got to look at it both ways of, hey man, this is the start of something great, and then go play it like you may not ever get to play again. And and for how 2020s went, I would think that would be mostly what our mindset is not to take anything for granted.
Coach, what are you most excited for about Saturday? From when the time you file into Paulson and warm up to when the lights turn off, 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock at night. What are you most excited for about Saturday?
I'm just excited to see our guys play ball again. Practice is it's good to be out there. It's fun to go out there and work together. It's part of the process, and everybody understands that you got to do these things to put yourself in a position to be successful. Even when you scrimmage, there's scenarios. You don't get anybody in a rhythm. You may go 6 plays in a row and then you put the next group in. I'm looking forward to actually playing a game where our guys can get into a rhythm and see what we're going to look like as a football team. I am excited about our team. I think we got some guys that can really do some things. I do know that we've got to be very smart as coaches to get a lot more players ready than we would have in the past to play a football game, just because we don't know how this week's test will turn out. Over the last 4 tests, we've gotten really good results. The first 2, being 0 positives, and then you get into when school started, and very few at that time. There was a pause in our practice, and a lot of that was because one position was really affected, and I felt like it was best for our football team because that position was not available to not really put ourselves in a position of not getting better as a football team. So we got to be mindful as coaches and strategic that we have to get a lot more guys ready to play because you never know what those test results may bring. Even if you're doing things right, if you're social distancing, you're wearing a mask, you're doing all the stuff that you're being asked for, it does not guarantee that someone won't get the virus.
Hey, Coach, can you walk us through what the week is in terms of testing? Like, is it testing on Wednesday morning or afternoon, and you get the test results back Friday? How does it work so that you know who you have that you can suit up on Saturday?
All right, so the last few weeks, all our testing days have been on Wednesdays, and basically it's an all-day deal. Guys come in, and then we look to get our results by noon on Fridays. And at that point, you have to make adjustments. You have to make a decision. I do know that I'm hoping, I feel strongly that this week we will be able to do this, but I know we are getting some rapid testing machines, which would allow us to test on Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday to allow, a smaller number of guys. Maybe on Wednesday we test all our two deep. Thursday we test our third stringers, and kind of go from there and try to be strategic about that, so that we're not looking at Friday, getting all the test results back on Friday and going, oh man, we got to make a huge change, and we're going to have to figure out how we're going to practice to make sure that we can function in the game. So hopefully we're going to get to that rapid testing so that we can know a little bit sooner. But right now we're getting tested on Wednesday and then getting results on Friday.
During the Sun Belt conference calls, some of the coaches talked about the need for depth and moving a defensive player to offense or vice versa. Can you give us an example of how deep you've had to map out the depth chart? Like, do you have like 3 kickers deep or 5 kickers deep? I mean, what is the contingency plan?
So like if you bring up a kicker example, right now we're working 3 kickers, to be ready for this game. And so, I do have my depth chart as far as the kickers go, and who I would like to start, who I would like to be the backup, and who I would like to be the third string. But obviously, at any moment, the third stringer can be the first stringer. So we're being very mindful of that. A lot of our freshmen are getting a lot of quality reps right now because they may get thrown into action way before they're ready. So what it ends up doing for us is we're doing a lot more of servicing each other. So there's not as much scout team work as there has been in the past. There's a lot more offense versus defense, and our offense may give our defense Campbell's look, vice versa. And then on special teams, we may go against our punt team, go against our punt return team, just to be able to work our technique and get more people work at those positions. Now, when you do stuff like that, what you have to be mindful of is how many reps guys are actually getting and what their bodies are going to feel like. And so we've been very strategic over the last couple of weeks of getting as many people reps as we can. Now, this week we're going to start coming off of them a little bit. Tomorrow, today was a really tough practice. Tomorrow will be a really tough practice, and then we'll start pulling off of them on Wednesday, to make sure they're ready to be fresh on Saturday. But there's a lot of strategic things that we've had to do, and a lot of that's been, hey, we can't do as much scout work. We've got to make sure that we're servicing one another.
Thank you.
Coach, are any guys going to be out? Have any guys been ruled out already because of coronavirus, where they have to quarantine for 2 weeks since getting it? Are any guys not going to be able to suit up Saturday already before Wednesday's tests even happen, or how are we sitting there?
That is accurate. There will be some guys that will not suit up. There will be guys that are not available. I'm gonna hold off on saying names because I'm not real sure if I'm allowed to yet. I don't know how that works. I need to check into that because of HIPAA. But it's a real deal. There's going to be guys that normally would have been starters for us that won't be available, and and that's the way this season's going to go. And the unfortunate part is that that may happen every Friday, and that's why we got to make sure we got as many people ready to play as possible.
What about non-coronavirus injuries or health? Like, is there anyone that you're really worried about with some other COVID related injury?
No, we haven't had. We had one very difficult injury at the beginning of camp. And again, I'll hold off on the name. But other than that, knock on something. But we've been fairly healthy when it comes to traditional football injuries, and that's good. And it's really good because when you start dealing with testing, a lot of people don't understand that the testing piece is not really the problem, because you say you had 2 guys test positive. Okay, well, you lost 2 guys because they're positive. Well, no, that's not the case. Contact tracing is then what gets you. If somebody's been around them, roommates are automatically out. It doesn't matter if they social distance. It doesn't matter if they're wearing a mask, and that's a hard piece right there, because you're automatically going to lose roommates, and then depending on where, when, if they've been hanging out, that type of stuff, you could lose more people. I think our guys are doing a really good job of making sure, and it's hard because we like to hang out and we like to be around one another, and I think our guys are doing a good job of not putting each other in jeopardy by doing those things. But once you start getting contact tracing, man, you never know how many people you're going to lose.
This weekend, Tyler Bass and Kendall Vilder, made NFL rosters. Have you been able to talk to them and kind of, wish them luck and as the season starts this weekend also for them?
I did. I talked to Tyler after he won the starting job. I haven't talked to him since obviously the news of the 53-man roster, but obviously when he won the starting job, that was kind of taken care of. He's excited. What it sounds like is he's just like he was here. He's not taking anything for granted, and he's definitely working his butt off to try to keep that job and understand that nothing's just promised. Kendall, we talked a little bit before the 53-man roster deal came out. He was feeling very strongly about how he's done in camp and how he's done performance-wise, and so obviously that showed that he's he is what they thought he was when he was drafted. And I'm excited to see both of these guys really contribute to the team. Tyler being a starter, and then it looks like Kendall's going to be a backup at this time. But I'm really excited to see how their NFL careers take off, because those guys have really worked hard to be professionals. Anything else?
I think we're all good, Coach.
All right. Thank y'all. GATA.
Thanks, Coach.